I'd like, if we could, it's okay, just keep going, finish what you're saying. It's okay. As I said earlier, your conversations are the most important things, but what I want to do, just with this last hour, is focus on this sense of your intentions, because if anything is to emerge over time supporting action research from this particular group, I said we've got the three things. One is you go back and you practice the action research yourself in your own professional practice with the students. You try to extend that with colleagues in your institution. You then try to extend the network into these relationships and the ones that are wider than this. So there are those three distinct activities. Now, one of the ways I've found that the third activity can be supported is through the video. So it was great with Anna just saying yes. When I asked her, would you please just talk through your action research, I'll be able to put that, as I say, on Monday onto YouTube, and it will give us all that kind of connection of knowing what happened. We all experienced it, and it was in the group. And it can help us to extend our networking. Now, I'd like somebody, and again, there's no pressure to do this, it's an opportunity which I don't think you'll regret if you actually take it up. And if you say after you've done it, look, I don't want that on YouTube, that's perfectly okay. But it's just to go round the tables now, just check if there's anybody that would be prepared just to come to talk about that sense of the intention of the planning, what it is that you feel from the reflections that you would actually like to do when you get back into your professional practice. So I'm going to go through the tables. I'm going to start by asking here, there, there, there. We've already done here, but I'll come back and just see if anybody else wants to contribute. Now, as I say, I don't want you to feel under that kind of pressure. It's just that I know that once you've done this kind of reflection, you've made it public, and also you permit the video onto YouTube, I think you'll be surprised at how pleased you are that you've actually gone public on your ideas. And it's getting over this sense of almost suppression of one's own voice. So can I start with the group here? Is there anybody here that would be prepared to come and just talk about the intention? Will you? No.
We are prepared to talk in front of the camera.
Okay, I don't know what state mine is, but you'll notice that I'm not embarrassed about it. Okay, let me go over then to this table. Is there anybody on this table that's just prepared to come to talk about that sense of the planning or the intention? No? No? Okay. Anybody on this table? Shaking of heads. No way. Would you? Yeah? Great. I was going to say, a huge round of applause. Great.
Okay. So, just to start.
Yes, by all means.
Actually, I didn't change my mind. Before I came here, I wrote something which I'm going to do in my school, and at the end it will be the continuation of the process which we are already running in our school. As I'm a coordinator for CPD of teachers, we have plan with proposed activities, with proposed topics which we are working on. So after reading all the material and after being here for 3 days, I'm thinking that I will structure differently the way of organization and development of learning community in my school. So we will continue to host and to attend each other classes, actually their classes, because I'm an expert associate, and we will work on processing reports, publishing them, publish with videos. What else? Can somebody help me? Let me see.
Yeah, again, that idea, can somebody help me? This is really important.
This is why we are making a Facebook page.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
It is that response to each other which again is really important. So the fact you're willing just to ask for help. Now, what I would say that everybody saw your case study that you participated in, which focused on poverty, you know, within the Balkan region, and also you had this lovely work on the context of Montenegro. Yeah? Now, I was saying in relation to your passion for social justice, it might be that you could draw some of those insights that you've got, you know, into your account. Now, I'm wondering whether, again, you've already done some excellent work, whether there is something from there that you feel that you could bring into your present inquiry, because you're clearly, from that work, really passionate about those values which underpin that case study.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they are applicable to the school environment, but we will assess it. Anyhow, I will need a critical friend. I will need someone from other school to help me in this process, and that will be.
Actually, right, we can extend this notion of a critical friend. Nobody says that a critical friend should be somebody that can be a body, which means that if we form this network, right, we can all act as a critical friend, which is also a good idea, what you think?
The reason I like that is that you will, I think, respond like your request there. Can you help me with this? Now, just by asking...
Can I just interrupt you? The reason why I'm asking for help is because I'm thinking about two levels. One is personal, my own development, and the other one is development, professional development of our teachers in the school. And in that area, I will need help. How to strengthen that development?
If you accept me, I will be ready to share with you my experience in my school, because I'm also coordinator for the professional development of teachers. So I also need help. I also have some ideas. And maybe we can share our ideas together, and then see what happens at your school, and then you see what happens in my school. Maybe we can find something that we can use.
Great.
Okay.
Now, again, can I ask, do you know each other?
No, we
just
don't.
met.
We
Right.
met here.
So, again, it's that connection and the communication which has been helped by the British Council and the other people that have helped us to come together, that have helped with your response there, which actually is the bedrock of what we've been talking about. That it's that willingness of yours to say, this is what I'm doing. With CPD, I will need some assistance with this. You're saying, well, look, I'm in a similar position. If we share what we're doing, I think you'll find you'll be helped together. So that's really great. Thanks very much. Okay? And now, that's exactly, if you like, the process that I'm hoping that we can connect with each other and sustain it, often, possibly through Facebook, certainly with the YouTube video, so that I'll send that with the URL. Now, is there anybody, I've asked, as I say, from the tables, who will come and just talk a little, so don't, just because somebody from your table has spoken, please don't think you can't do it, because your intentions will be unique to you, and we'll get that creative dialogue going, which I think will sustain a network. So is there anybody else that feels that they could come and just talk a little about their intentions? You should have seen the the refusals on that table were very positive. Is there anybody here at all that would like just to come and... Sure. Nobody? Would you? No? I'll just give the time, because the opportunity, I think over several weeks and months, you'll start to see, possibly when you've seen Anna, you know, how important it is to share through this medium.
I am famous.
Now, is there anybody else that feels they haven't, if you like, been offered that opportunity? Is there anybody else that feels that they could come up and just talk about their intentions?
Well, I have already said what I had.
Not here. Do, please.
Okay, I laughed at Svetlana when she said, "Wouldn't be famous," and I said, "I'm already famous."
You can't believe fame. You can't believe fame.
So this is the professional side. That was
After the line.
I've asked her, "Have you ever been to a wedding? They film you over there without even noticing."
That's true.
That's embarrassing when you have a drink or two. Start behaving in a different way.
But you're not going to, are you? If you just give your name and context.
Okay,
and
yes.
also-
My name is Otka Radnić. I teach English in a primary school. We have come to a conclusion to make a Facebook page. And I find it quite useful since we can connect in that way. English teachers are connected in Montenegro, and I think that we are really doing our job. But this is a kind of way to help each other with things that we find difficult. Not only related to action research or CPD, with anything that has to deal with the teaching process. So lesson plans we mentioned, or maybe some filming us, teaching not only us, the children and everything, and your comments on that. So that would be very useful. Or as we mentioned, we can show the good teaching process, or even try to put on the bad one and say, don't try this, it will function well. So any kind of advice, help, anything that can involve us and make our teaching process better, this is why we're making this page. Why Facebook? As we said, many people in Montenegro have it and a Facebook account, and even they check it more than they check their emails. Well, this is maybe we can join and help others who don't teach English to become as good as we are. Thank you.
Okay,
Pretty close to us.
any responses to that presentation?
I'm going to join the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll be invited. We are the admins.
Any other responses? You're going to join. I'd certainly love to connect with that Facebook and respond, so we keep the connection going. I possibly just mentioned this, that like yesterday, the spontaneous laughter at the end.
Wait, there's a question. Tanya.
Tanya?
Yes.
Are you willing to be a member of this Facebook page, of their Facebook page?
That's what I'd like very much, to be connected with your Facebook page, because if you like my commitment, okay, just as I've asked you to come and state your intentions, mine is very much to do with seeing what I can do to bring the knowledge, when I say your embodied knowledge in this room, which at the moment is being shared with your students and if you're ahead with the school. But it's not being shared more widely than that. Now, my commitment is very much, and you'll see this over, you'd say, a year, 2 years. It's that kind of sustained commitment to see, can I help to bring Tanya's knowledge, the embodied knowledge, into the public domain? Can I help, Svetlana, can we really work with those videos to show the kind of values which you hold, which you've shared here, and bring those into the public domain? That's right, yeah. Yes. But this, I love it. Believe me, when I was doing it in Africa, the room just went completely black. There was no light coming in the door, no lights, no windows, just absolutely blank. It was frightening. But my commitment is very much to do with, bringing that embodied knowledge of yours. When I say into the public domain, I mean first of all that if you take the two tables that say no way will I come, right, and do this, it will be to see, and it can take sometimes about 12 months, but if at the end of 12 months you've got this feeling that your voices are being heard, that the values that you are living as educators are being shared more widely, that this would be my commitment to you, just to see, can I help with this process? So when you talk about your intentions, and you've outlined some here. I'll join the Facebook page, but I would also like to think that the work I'm doing in this international CPD project, which is focused on action research, is something that you feel is of value to you, that gradually we bring your knowledge. You know, when I think of the excitement, you've often shown in your responses a real pleasure, literally as an educator. And I would love just to be able to show that, you know, in the classrooms or with the students. So we feel, yeah, we're getting a spreading of your influence of the values. So that, like, again with the international work, you know, that the connections, will I be able to show that there is something going on in these other contexts which is of interest to you, so that you feel supported and more energized, because, if you like, the Canadian group start to know about the work you are doing and valuing it. Can I show you how some of the groups that are working in Israel and South Africa can actually connect with what is going on in Montenegro? Because at the moment, you've got some superb internal documents and publications. The language barrier is that many people don't actually, if you like, speak your language. So you've got these superb publications from the Bureau. Is there some way of getting your knowledge that you have of these processes spread more widely? So these are my commitments to you, and you'll be able to see whether I'm authentic in the sense that I gave you earlier of, am I truly living out my own values and showing over time and interaction that I'm truly committed to them? And if you contact me, do I make you a very rapid response? You know, this will again be something that I should and want to do. So when you're working together, am I actually showing that I'm actually responding to you in a meaningful way? And like your Facebook page, do I genuinely show that interest and want to communicate? So those are the kind of intentions and the commitments that I feel that I'm making, which again is not part of paid employment. It's just that feeling of living a productive and worthwhile life. This is what I love to do in education. I'll just make this point that at one point I was the youngest member of a group. I imagine that you're one of the youngest members of the group, right? You don't think so? I'm sure you are, right?
No,
I'm one of the oldest. Now, if you think that I might have possibly another 10 years of productive life, you will have 40 or 50 years, 40 of productive life in education. So what can we do to actually enhance each other's contribution? Now, this is what I feel over the next few years of productive life I'm committed to. Now, is there anybody else where you feel we've missed a connection, you know, with what it is you're doing, or you feel you would like to talk a little more about what it is you're doing? Oops. Gosh.
You know what third time is?
Third time.
The third time. You know what it means?
No, what does it mean?
Third time lucky.
Third time lucky, I see. He's telling us something. You know, we all stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, that is my commitment. That is wonderful, this system. What is it? Does your electricity sometimes go off, or is it a...
Yeah.
This is not
Very
this
often.
is something with the hotel.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's... Oh, no, we're back again.
Yes.
I don't quite... Okay. Right, if you like, for our final... I'll just try that again. For our final time together. Say it again?
Internet is not working because the electricity went out.
Ah, right. I've just put it on again. I think we'll see. Okay. Now, if you go through, if you like the program that I sent around, I think you've all got this copy. Now,
Svi tu.
are you okay?
Ja moram dokaz, on je gdje sam bila.
I'll join the picture. I'll join the photograph. All of us on picture.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. I thought we were in for a yesterday moment, you know, when there was a...
No, yeah.
But a picture, we're all together, good. Right.
Smiling.
Well, one of the last things I'd like to show you then is, it's in a final session, and I think you've all got the programme.
Yeah.
Now, it says here, I've covered what Jackie DeLong has been doing, that culture of inquiry. Now, can you see just on the left, in relation to the morning session, the focus will be on living educational theories as transformational, continuing professional development. Okay, so that's on the Wednesday morning session right at the bottom. Now, what I'd just like to show you, because that idea of participating in this transformational continuing professional development, again, I'll send you around this URL for this publication that's only just come out, and it's called, it's a strange name, and it's called Gifted Education International. Okay, Gifted. Now, I'm going to show you because I can let you have the contents of this free, because as one of the contributors, I got all of the papers. In fact, I edited this issue, and it's the whole of the content of the living educational theories, mainly of primary teachers. So I know in the room we have got primary teachers who I've been encouraging to do the action research. I'll send you the URL so you can access this issue, and it only came out in, it was the September issue. I think the next one is in December. Well, the September 2013 issue contained these contributions from primary teachers. There's one secondary teacher, but if you just, this was where I just set out. We give the editor's introduction. Now, this idea of you creating your own living theories, that is your explanations of influence, as a transformational process of CPD. So we know that if you will do this and create your own living theory, it is genuinely transformational, because you will be showing how you're living your values as fully as possible and sharing that with others. Now, this idea is a strange one of gifts and talents. Our government sent guidelines around to all schools to say that the head teachers had to identify, but remember these were guidelines, it's not what we call statutory. The guidelines were to identify 10% of all of your school population as gifted. Okay? All 10%, you had to, and it was this had to. Now, actually they didn't have to, because these were only guidelines. It was not mandatory. So the Marie Huxtable, who I work with, the educational psychologist who was coordinating a lot of this work, said to head teachers, actually, I think all of your students have got talents, which if you develop them, they can offer as gifts. So they can offer them as freely as gifts. It's a totally different idea than the government had about giftedness. So what some of the heads did was to put all of their pupils on the list as having talents that they could then develop for each individual child as fully as they could. And this is what this issue of gifted and talented education is all about. It's all about showing how every individual child has a talent which they can be helped to develop, and the stories that the children can give can be offered as gifts. Now, I'll just stress the importance of this, that every one of the 34 doctoral students, most of them teachers, that over the last 16 years I've supervised to successful completion, and that's the highest number of anybody, for example, in the Department of Education at the University of Bath, which has got a good reputation for research and being active. has offered their whole doctorates as gifts. They've said, look, Jack, you can make these freely available on your website. Now, you know this, if anybody gets their doctorate, they are being shown to have made an original contribution to knowledge. They're shown to be talented. Now, there's a mixture of primary teachers and secondary teachers that have studied their own practice for a minimum of 5 years part-time to get their doctorates, which they freely said, look, put them on your website, Jack. These are my living, this is my living theory. You can share this all over the world freely. So every resource on my website, including the masters, is being offered as a gift to other educators. And it shows, again, like yourselves, talented educators who've made their stories public. Now this comes from the masters cohort, this whole issue, which, if you look at Amy Scoos, however I develop my own personal views of gifts and talents in education, how does this influence what I do in the classroom? Louise, again, a head teacher who worked on her master's unit, how can I clarify my responsibility as a head teacher as I provide opportunities to enable all children in the school to create talents? Now, Sally was a very gifted secondary educator, but unfortunately, she had a really very quick death from cancer when she was 50-odd last year. But this particular paper is really powerful because it shows her passion to, if you like, put the students in the driving seat of their learning. She was so gifted as a teacher that of a group of 8 students that she had, and these were 17-year-olds, 6 of them went to what is known in our country as Oxbridge, which is Oxford and Cambridge, which in relation to the percentage, that is a huge number of her students. And she did it with the action research process explicitly. We videotaped quite a lot of the students making their own special studies, and that is Sally's. How can I enable the gifts and talents of my students to be in the driving seat of their learning? And at the universities, this is Oxford and Cambridge, they were so impressed with the interviews of these students. They were so articulate, because they'd had this practice over 2 years of generating their own knowledge and sharing it with their peers. Again, Joy is a head teacher, primary head teacher. Again, you'll recognise this. How can I work within the government's perspective, but remain true to my own living values? And I think everybody here is aware of that tension. How do you remain yet true to your values, knowing that you've got these external pressures which sometimes can act against what you really believe? So again, that of Joy Mounter, it was Joy's paper in the master's units that had these 6-year-olds in the videotapes going through their own theory of their own learning, which convinced the president of our Gifted and Talented Society that they really had improved the action reflection cycle that this Bell Wallace had designed. So if you get a chance to follow Joy's accounts, I think, again, those will inspire. Again, Ross, a primary teacher, how does using philosophy and creative thinking, so that notion of the creativity, which many of you have mentioned, enabled me to recognise and develop inclusive gifts and talents in my pupils. So I'll send you the URL for this September issue of Gifted Education International, so that you can just see what some of the colleagues in England have been working on after going through the action research processes, and that was for, if you like, some of their master's units that I tutored. But that's the very last thing in terms of resource that I'll send to you. And I'll do that this evening. I'll put this round to everybody. But Anna, on Monday, I'll have also the other video clips onto the YouTube and send you the URL. Now, that was my last bit about a resource which I'd like you to see that you've got freely available. That one, Gifted Education International, usually costs a lot of money, but it's just that if you get the drafts of the ones that, for example, we edited, Marie Huxwell and myself edited that issue, we can actually send round the original drafts that were submitted to that journal, and we can do that freely. So that's what I'll send round to you, so you can see. And these were the units that were given the master's credits from these teachers. These are all awarded master's units. So you can actually see the kind of work that is going on, which every one of you here could actually show how you've moved beyond some of this work, because it's all text. if you'll build the videos and the visuals into your account, you'll take this further. You'll be able to show your own talents as educators and offer these as gifts. Now, again, is that okay? Yeah? Right, now, just for the final half hour, what I'd love you to do is, it's just this sense of, it's ending, if you like, and it's not with my voice, that it's very important for you to sense that if we've been genuine about you in the last day creating your own curriculum, and me asking if some of you would come up, give your intentions, which you've done, to share with us what it is that you feel you can now do, because this is what will take a network forward. I'd just like to give you that opportunity just to check together in terms of this process of what now comes next. You've got the three things, and that was really great to get that, the context, but also, have you all got this sense of a particular confidence? Because when you came up, that was lovely because it just felt confident, but you'd also got the humour. Yeah? Now, that laughter is very important in education. The actual ability to experience pleasure together. There is a very, again, well-known researcher. It was called Gregory Bateson. And his daughter was called Mary Catherine Bateson. And they both got superb publications. But Gregory Bateson had got a lovely text called Steps Towards an Ecology of Mind. And he was meaning by that we need to develop a relational sense of being together, a sense of community. I talked to you about Ubuntu in the African sense of I am because we are. Now, Bateson has got a whole section in his book on ecology, which focuses on the importance of humour and genuinely being able to laugh with that spontaneity, which actually breaks down barriers and helps people to feel part of a powerful community, which at the end of that you did. Yeah? Now he's saying that is at the heart of social evolution. So when you're in your classroom, I imagine that you too would like to feel the pleasure that your students are able to experience, or if you're running a CPD session, the genuine pleasure and delight that sometimes is expressed within a group. Now we've got some of the evidence on the video of that wonderful, if you like, stimulating experience of the laughter. So please don't underestimate the humour, which is vital. Don't underestimate, when you showed your video from the school, the importance of the music. Very important. I think in your own lives you'll sense emotionally how particular songs, tracks mean something to you. Don't hesitate to put those in, because sometimes the music is one of the only ways of communicating the emotion. The Canadian researchers I talked to you about, one of them, again, it's not her subject, but she is a talented artist. And she's brought some of her paintings into her explanations in research terms because her paintings communicate what emotionally was very, very important to her. So don't hesitate to use your literally creative arts in terms of your accounts, because the creative arts are often the only ways you can express certain emotions or feelings. Now, I'd like to pause, as I say, for me talking, and really I'd like, within your tables, for you just to almost like end with that kind of conversation together. And this may sound strange, but I'd like you, by about past, if you wish, to start to go, yeah? Because I would like your voices on your tables to be what it is that you end with and you remember. And this is, for me, this is really important. I will be in touch with you through those emails, through the Facebook, and with the videos. But what matters to me is that, if you like, your voices, and I'll come around the tables and just check how you're getting on. But about past, if you want to leave, that's fine. Is that okay? Okay, thanks.